What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? It's your boy, StephenMotivate. We're back again with another episode of The Journey. And as y'all know, we try to find folks who are on a journey, who have done something cool or doing something cool and have been through the ups and downs of life, and they are still going. So this young lady we have for you today, I just met, so I'm going to get to know her just as long as you'll get to know her, right along with you. And what I thought was super interesting was that she, when I saw her online, was talking about remote work and helping people find ways of engaging with the economy in a different way. Like we always think, oh, I just got to get the normal 9 to 5. And you've proven that's not necessarily true. So without any further ado, let's welcome Holli to the show. What's up, Holli?
Thank you. Hey, it's nice to finally meet you in person.
Likewise.
I'm so happy to be here.
Good. We're happy to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about you. Give your own introduction of kind of who is Holli and what is Holli doing nowadays?
Who is Holli? It's so funny. I always say I'm a mom.
Yeah.
Like it's something about once you have a kid, like
Yeah.
it's just standard. Like I'm a mom.
Yes.
That has become a part of my identity,
Yes.
you know, and even now he's older and I'm Logan's mom now. Like when we go places, are you Logan's mom? So like I'm definitely a mom.
Yes.
I was a school counselor for several years. Definitely had a love to work with kids. You know, it became a passion over time, just because I think my passion was rooted in uplifting and empowering and, you know, especially our kids, you know,
Black
people
folk
who looked like me, right?
Yes.
And, you know, so it just became a love for me to, you know, just do whatever I needed to do to make sure that my kids were taken care of.
Yeah.
And so I did that for 13 years.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. And I didn't mean to. Like I wasn't even going to college originally, you know, so I just fell into it because my mom was a teacher. My aunts were all teachers, 40 years in the school system.
Okay.
And I wanted to go to school to like I wanted to be like a clothing designer and all these things. And I was like, if I do anything, I just want to create. And my mom was like, you can't really make money like that. You just need to get a job.
Right.
And she was the reason why I went into the school system. She was the reason why I got the degrees I did. She's the reason why I got my degree as a counselor, because it ended up being, well, I don't want to teach. So I have to figure out something else.
Yeah.
So I went and got my advanced graduate degree in counselor education. Okay. And it did actually end up being, you know, something
So you don't
I
regret
loved.
mama's advice?
I don't. You know, it's one of those things where I do kind of wish I had taken a different path. I wish I had known who I was and had, I guess, the courage to just say that's not what I want to do. But at that time, I didn't really know. And you trust your parents,
Absolutely.
you know, and they do the best that they can.
Right.
What she taught me was what she knew.
Right.
Right? Like they are from a different generation. And so she and my dad taught me even though my dad had businesses, he still worked a full-time job. He's a realtor. He had a commercial cleaning business. And he also worked at Duke Power. Back then it was Duke Power, you know, and so, but it's always like you go to school, you get a job.
Get something concrete.
Get something concrete, because I think that their generation was definitely rooted in having that security, you know, and I was always taught that. And when I started to tell them I'm not staying in the school system for 30 years,
Right.
my mom and my aunts, they would always tell me, you know, you shouldn't do that because you're going to need benefits. You're going to need retirement. And all these things that, you know, and it's almost like a fear. You know, I think their generation, they're very fearful of certain things, when I think for us, we want to take those risks. You know, we're more risk takers than they were.
Right.
You know, but it did it. It kept me in the school system. I became a school counselor because I needed to stay out of I was trying to stay out of the classroom.
Yeah. Did you ever have to spend time in the classroom?
As a school counselor.
Okay.
So at the
you
middle
immediately
school,
was able to get into the counseling side.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Right after undergrad, I went right back.
Okay.
I went right back to school, A&T the entire time. I stayed there the entire time.
That's dope. I met my wife at A&T.
Look at that.
I'm not from here.
Aggie pride.
Okay. I'm from Indiana.
Oh,
Moved
nice.
down here a decade ago. Everyone was talking about Jiho, and I had to go.
You had to.
It's the dopest thing I've ever been to, by the way. So
Listen.
if you're in North Carolina, get to GHO.
And if you have not been to GHO, what are you doing?
Right.
What are you doing with your life?
What are you doing with your life?
And I went this past weekend. I didn't do a lot because I don't know if I'm just getting older and I can't like I used to.
Right.
And it was like so many events I missed, but I was like, I wouldn't have been able to do it anyway. Like after going out Friday night, being on the yard, I had my son's football game that same day. I was like, babe, I have to go home.
Yeah. I can't do it like I used to.
I'm tapped out. Yeah. I'm tapped out.
Okay, so A&T, Aggie, you went back to back, got the degrees.
Yes. Got the degrees, went right back. And I think I moved to Charlotte because Guilford County, it was hard to get a counseling job.
Oh,
like
okay.
for some reason, it was just tougher.
Mm-hmm.
But Charlotte, there are more schools. Guilford County, it's smaller. And so there were just more opportunities. So I applied. I got an interview as soon as I applied.
Mm-hmm.
A friend told me to apply in Charlotte. And I was like, girl, I'm not trying to move to Charlotte, but I did.
Yeah.
Got an interview, came in town, got the job on the spot. And so I moved. Yeah. And, and I stayed in it. I did it for 13 years, loved it. If it weren't so political, I probably would have done it a little longer. Mm-hmm. But I started to really understand that my advocating for my students, it wasn't what everybody wanted. Like one of the last schools where I worked before I went to the middle college, like I came back into the building that next school year because you're not going to treat my Black kids incorrectly.
Right.
They need to get the exact same treatment as everybody else.
Right.
All of the chances and the care and the love that you show these kids, mine should also get the same thing.
Right. Not just straight discipline, ready to punish right away.
Anything.
Like, let's give them some grace as well.
And they never got it. I needed that understanding from my babies. And when you didn't give it to them, or if they came to me and they said that you said something out of pocket to them, I'm going right to you.
Yeah.
And I became public enemy number one.
Because you're advocating.
Which was fine.
You're advocating for these students with some of the teachers or staff that are
absolutely everybody, even admin, and but it was fine.
Yeah,
and I didn't care.
Yeah,
if I'm here, you're going to treat my kids the way they should be treated.
So talk about that just briefly. Like, is there a gap in our current school systems where there's not enough advocating for Black, brown, minority type children?
Absolutely.
But
I think there's a fear. There's a fear there that I didn't have because one, I'm the type, baby, I will just leave. And I also know too, it takes a lot to be reprimanded in schools. Like you have to really have something on me, right? Like my advocating for my students can't get me fired.
Right. Okay.
But I'm the type, I'm going to speak up. I had been in the school system long enough.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid.
Right.
I'm not afraid of this job. I'll say all the time, what they going to do, fire me?
Right.
What are they going to do, fire me?
Right. Yeah.
And so.
That's good though.
But it's hard because when you're either a new employee or you don't, I'm also the type, I'm okay with not knowing what's next. So even if I do get fired, I'll find something else. Right. But everybody doesn't have that mindset. A lot of people are like, this is my security. This is what I need to have. So I'm not going to push too much.
Right.
Because I don't want anything to
fall back on me. I don't want to get fired.
I don't want to get fired.
I don't want that disruption.
Or I don't want to be treated differently. I was treated differently.
On a day-to-day basis.
That's fine. You can treat me different as long as you treat my kids correctly, right? Yeah. That's how I felt about it.
Yeah.
And I knew that. I knew that I was being treated differently. That's fine.
Yeah.
Just treat my kids right, you know? But I do think that there are issues there.
Yeah.
But who can stand up for them? Like who can stand up for our babies if I work in this school and I don't want whatever the backlash is that could potentially happen. Yeah. So I think a lot of things go swept under the rug because it's a fear there.
I like that though. Respect to that, you for doing that, because I feel like we don't know. And I'm new to this state in general. It's still relatively new. And I'm new in terms of like, I got to get my daughters in school soon. And as you as a parent, start evaluating schools, you're like, well, this ain't the great, But you never think about the fact, maybe it's a fine school. Maybe that, folks aren't being advocated for correctly. And folks that look like me are probably, even if it's subtle or subliminal, being mistreated. So I like that you did that. Respect to you for doing that. And for everybody out there that's listening, think about that. Like when kids and school systems, how do they treat folks that they don't have to treat the right way necessarily, or they can get away with kind of being a little rougher with.
And there were things I saw, but I was never afraid to just speak up, and everybody's not like that, and for a good reason, and I do understand that everybody can't be like me. Everybody couldn't do what I did. I also had enough experience where I could also just up and go find another job.
Right.
I had 13 years.
Yeah.
I could, and I was good at what I did, so I could, maneuver and pivot and go somewhere else. And I did end up having to leave. And it was funny because that school year that I came back, I was in the front office and someone was like, I hope you know, they've been talking about you all summer and you're public enemy number one. And I said, that's fine. That's fine. But I had already decided I was leaving. What's funny about, I believe that we manifest. The power of the tongue is so real.
Okay.
And once you start to speak it and believe it truly, things just start to change.
Okay,
and
talk about that. What do you mean?
Summer,
okay,
it's funny. I had already started. I was looking for remote work at that time. So I knew I wasn't going to stay where I was. I knew I was leaving that place. I just didn't know what I was doing, where I was going, or how it was going to look.
So pause on this. So you were, when you talk about the power of the tongue and speaking things, were you physically or actually during that time speaking, I'm about to make a move, I need a change?
I said, I'm leaving. Right. I had in my brain, I had decided, and I had gotten one interview for a remote role. I didn't land it. Right.
Okay.
I was still new to it. I think I was too excited in the interview.
Yeah. Too excited.
I was too excited.
I'm ready. You want to have me right now?
I think I was too excited, and I think it was a little bit of a turnoff.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I shouldn't have done that. Okay, I've learned, because it's all a learning experience.
Right.
Even as I've gone through this journey of helping people and helping myself and things like that, it's been a journey in itself, right?
Right.
So I didn't land it, but I was like, that's okay. I know that I'm not going to be here. Now, in the school system, they have a transfer period. If you do not apply to transfer out of your school during that period, you are not allowed to move once the school year starts. You're stuck unless they decide something happens, right? I was not supposed to leave.
Wow.
And I knew that. I had gone to the person over my principal. He was like, I'm sorry, transfer period's over. You didn't apply, you can't leave.
Yeah.
I didn't plan on transferring because I was just going to leave the school system.
Period. Yeah.
Period. And
but now everything's at risk. So talk about that. Everything's at risk now. Right. You may not have anything. How does that feel to you? What were you feeling at the time? Were you scared? Were you?
No. And I think I wasn't scared because of my faith, right? Like, I think when you have a certain type of faith, it's gonna work out,
right?
And I have learned to,
amen,
be still. Like, I was just talking to a friend of mine about this because we never know what's gonna happen in our situation, right? And I think that, okay, God, I don't know where you're taking me. I don't know what's happening. But I know that with you in charge, as long as I follow you, it's going to work out, right? It has no choice but to work out.
Yeah.
That's how I go into anything. It has no choice but to work out.
Right.
And so I decided that first week, I walked in and she was like, you're public enemy number one. They had moved me from one place where I was into a classroom. And they literally, over the summer, they had the custodians come and put all of my belongings into trash bags. Threw them in a classroom.
Oh, wow.
And I just came in the building. They were like, yeah, they've moved you in here. I don't know. Okay.
Wow.
I went and got a big trash can, a huge one. And I started to throw all of my stuff in the trash cans. And my friends, I had two close friends at the school. Dominique, he was like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm throwing my stuff away. And he was like, why? And I said, because I'm not going to be here.
Wow.
I didn't have a plan. I had already been told I could not transfer.
Yeah.
But I walked into that school and I threw everything away.
Wow.
craziest thing I could have ever done, right?
You fired yourself.
I know they thought I was crazy. Well, I didn't actually. I got transferred, which you're not supposed to be able to do.
Okay. So what you was able to go beyond
what they literally told
limitations,
me, you cannot transfer.
But it happened for you. How much of that was mindset?
All of it. I think all of it, because I just knew I don't have a choice.
How did you? Was you like? A choice? You said you're spiritual and your faith is strong. So were you praying? Were you
all the time
talking to God? Were you going to church?
All of it.
Yeah,
you know, good. and I've learned that I'm an anxious person. I get anxious. Mm-hmm. I like to meditate. I like to pray. When I wake up in the morning and I feel this anxious feeling, mm-hmm. I immediately pray.
Wow.
Like I'll wake up and it's like this feeling that comes over my body, especially when things are unsure, right? When we are unsure of our situation, it's easy to feel anxious, but I'll wake up with it, heavy on me.
Yeah.
And I just go right to God. Okay, God.
That's good.
You know what I need?
Yeah, you know what I need, God.
I need you to move in this situation.
Yeah, that's good.
I need you to do it. Like, and it's something about that prayer. As soon as you wake up, I pray, and then I'll just go right into meditation. And it helps me to come back to myself. I'm able to attack my day. Mm-hmm. And I was literally just able to, I interviewed at a school, at a middle college, and I was gone by the end of the week.
So you threw the stuff away. You walked out that day, the day.
Threw everything away. My friends are like, she has lost her mind. And you know, I knew it was time. I knew that I knew inside, because I'm one of those people who I don't back down and I say what I need to say. I don't care who the administrator is, baby. If I feel like something isn't right, I'm just gonna tell it.
Right.
And we were in that day, we were in a meeting. And the way that the principal had made our schedules didn't look right. It looked real crazy, because I was actually basically a specialist. Okay. So kids came to me every block like they would music, art, all those things.
Got it.
I was at the elementary school at the time, and we're in the meeting, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
And I remember people were looking at me like just ready for me to respond. And I said, I'm on my phone looking at jobs. I don't know what y'all are going to do. And I said it after the meeting. I don't know what y'all are going to do.
Yeah.
I said, those schedules look real crazy. Mm-hmm. I said, but I'm not going to be here.
Right.
And at this time, I didn't have anything, right? Yeah. But I was just like, I don't know what y'all are going to do.
But I love that confidence. I love that.
I'm gone.
I'm out. I don't know what y'all going to do.
I don't know what it looks like.
I pray y'all figure it out.
I hope y'all do.
But I won't be here.
I won't be here. I told him I'm gone.
Yeah.
I just don't know where.
Yeah.
You know, but by the end of the week, I was gone.
Okay.
And that was that after I moved, I transferred to a middle college, and that was my last year in the school system. Mm-hmm. I loved my babies. Oh my gosh. Those babies I had, every year I had some awesome ones. And when I went to the middle college, that was my first year with high school students, and I loved it. My goodness, those kids, oh my gosh, I hated to leave them.
Really?
Like when the school year ended, I definitely boo-hoo cried, but I knew I had to go. And
how did you do that? Just briefly, you left something because there's a lot of people out there, I think, that need to leave something that they hate leaving, that they love. They need to leave something that they love, whether it's a job or a mate or all types of situations, a city. I don't even know what it could be, but talk about how you was able to say, I got to do what's best for me, in spite of the fact that I love these children. I love who I'm helping right now.
I love who I'm helping right now. I hate to leave these babies. I had developed relationships with those kids, and I mean, some of them needed it. And it's one of those things where I don't want to leave these babies. I know I need them, and they need me for real.
Right.
But I know if I don't do it, I'm going to be unhappy. You know, I've learned that comfort is great. Mm-hmm. It's great to be in a comfortable situation, but it's not always the best.
Right.
You know, and a lot of times we get comfortable. Yeah. And it's not necessarily what we need. Yeah. But we stay because we don't know what else is out there, right? The unknown is just scary. And so it just gets to a place, am I going to stay where I'm comfortable, or am I going to take a chance on the unknown? You know what I mean?
Yeah, Jim Collins wrote a book, Good to Great, right? Where he talks about the enemy of great is not terrible. The enemy of great is good.
It's good. This is just good.
Yeah, we get stuck in that comfortable good
I get
spot.
stuck in good.
Yeah, I think we all do.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I've done so many things for too long.
Yeah.
Because I was afraid. I was just talking to my friend about this the other day too. Because all of this stuff was coming back around. It's so funny we're talking about it now. But I was even telling her there are so many things that I thought it was what I wanted, right? I knew this is what I want. This is for me.
Yeah.
This is what's right.
Yeah.
And I literally was not allowing God to be in control. I left a situation that I had been in for years, and it wouldn't have ended probably because, when you are just doing something and you don't leave it because you're both comfortable.
Right.
And it's funny, I prayed to God. I was sick and tired of everything. I was working at the school. I didn't want to be there. And I prayed to God, and I was just like, God, on my way to school, because I didn't have time to go to the gym that morning, and I was frustrated because I like to go work out before I go, start my day, all these things. I couldn't do it, and I was mad. And I remember I was like, God, anything that is in my way, anything that is hindering me from getting where I need to go, I need you to remove it. 2 days later, it was over, and I was in shambles, right? In shambles.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Careful what you pray for.
And I swear, when you start praying and telling God things and really talking to him, he's like, okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now you saying it, but
yeah. Now you got to feel the pain of that thing going away, or me really taking lead of your life.
Me really taking lead of your life, because we want to control it so bad because we know, right?
Yeah.
We know.
Yeah.
I know, God, I know what I need. I know what I want. I know how I need this to go. Same conversation I was having with my friend yesterday. And we think we know, right? We always think we know.
Right.
We always think we have the answers. And sometimes God is just trying to get in there and take control and really give us what's best. He's really trying to give us what we need.
Right.
But we're so busy like, no, but this is what I need.
Right.
This right here that I have is what I need. I don't want this taken from me, because this is what I need. And you couldn't tell me I didn't need it, right? You couldn't tell me that. I mean, I literally would be like, but what am I supposed to do if this ends? How am I literally have said out of my mouth, how am I supposed to make it if this ends?
Right.
How am I supposed to make it? And my God, I've been breathing.
You still
My heart's been beating.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow.
You
life
making it.
Literally went on.
Yeah. It was literally okay.
It was literally okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, you talking about rock bottom?
Yeah.
Rock bottom. Like, how am I supposed to go on?
Sad, depressed.
Oh, God.
Stressed.
Not eating.
Don't want to eat.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
And then, one day I was just like, oh, my gosh. Life is going on. I can see this person. I can hear this person's voice. Someone can talk about this person. I don't even fall apart. Wow. Life literally went on. And I think that even with my students, it was like, I don't want to leave these babies.
Yeah.
My heart was in it for them.
Right.
And I was so scared. I think every time I've had to transition, and I think I got used to having to transition to different schools and being with new staff and meeting new people and new students. But it's still that thing of, how do I leave these babies? Because I feel like I'm good for them, right? I'm advocating for them.
Yeah.
I'm doing these things for them, but I'm slowly losing it, right? I'm slowly losing myself.
Yeah.
I'm battling people every day.
Yeah.
I'm not in a good environment for myself, right? And I think that a lot of times we get so focused on doing for everybody else that we just always put ourselves last.
Right.
And I think it really took understanding that all I was doing was putting myself last. Even though I was doing it for the right reasons, it wasn't taking care of me.
Yeah, it was unhealthy.
Nowhere I work,
yeah,
I should feel like that. I shouldn't work in a place where I feel like I am walking into a war zone, right? I'm battling everybody, but maybe 2 or 3 people.
Yeah.
Nobody's on my side.
And you think that's good advice for most folks? If you're going into places and it feels like it's World War 3.
Oh my gosh.
And even
Get
though
out of there.
even though they paying you,
Get out of there.
Get
What
out.
are you doing?
Yeah.
Get out of there.
yeah.
And it's funny because every job, especially after COVID, when I started looking for remote work, I'm literally telling everybody, like, why are you still here? Like, why are you still in here? Like, look at this job. Like, I found this for you.
Oh.
You need to apply for this today.
Let's talk about that. So, okay, the middle college ends at some point.
The middle college ends.
Is at that point, are you looking for remote work? Is that
I was
COVID?
already looking for remote work. So COVID happened when I was still at the elementary school. We came back. I got sick. I got sick. I ended up in the hospital for a little while. They put me out of work for the rest of the school year. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
Getting paid to just not have to go to work.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. But then that next school year, I was back at the same elementary school, battling the same people.
Yeah.
And this was what, 2020... 21,
Okay.
maybe 2022.
Okay.
And that's when I transferred to the middle college. I was there, left 2023.
Yeah.
Like right at, like gone.
Yeah.
Like, hey, they said that at 5:00 you're done. Are you gonna stay? At 5, my contract ends. I didn't sign another contract, baby. I'm gone.
Yeah.
And I was gone.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a job.
Mm-hmm.
I left.
Yeah.
Crazy. Like, I don't know what it is about me and just being like, you know what, I'm gone. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm just gone.
Yeah.
And I did. What are you going to do? It will work itself out.
Do you regret it at all right now?
Not at all.
And I think this is coupled with the fact that you did have experience. You did have resume. You did have college and stuff to say, hey, I got this if I need it.
I need it.
But now
I wasn't going to need
I done did that. Yeah.
Right. I wasn't good. It's funny because even when I was leaving, my principal, she tried to get me to come back and do all these things. Don't leave the school system like this. You might need to come back. Girl, my contract is over. I'm not stepping in that building.
Yeah.
And I don't care how I leave this place because I had decided I'm not coming back.
Yeah, and I like the fact that it's this fearlessness. Like, we're not going to just make decisions because,
in fear.
I'm in fear, or this might hurt me, or I might not be able to have the 30-year pension. It's like, it's okay.
There are so many other ways.
There are other ways to engage in the economy, like we talked about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There are so many other things. I do not have to sit here and be in a place I don't want to be because this is what people say you're supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because one of my old coworkers, she was just messaging me like, hey, find me something. I found you 12 million jobs when I worked with you and you never applied for them. I'm still going to help her, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
you know, and I think we do it out of fear. I think there was a fear there as well.
Okay,
you know?
so talk about this, and I want to get to what you do today, but just give people maybe 2 or 3 tips about finding remote work, whether they use you or not. What in your journey of doing this, what are 2 to 3 tips you would say if you want to get out of your spot and you don't necessarily want to go to an office? Because you hear now, let me couple it with this. You hear now that, okay, folks got to come back to work.
Right.
Amazon, y'all got to be back in.
Sadly.
Y'all got to come back. Y'all been gone too long.
Doing that.
Yeah. So, just give us tips. Is because the reason I said that is because some people could think that remote work is starting to die back down again, or it's going away, or that was a little fad and now it's going away. So
it's not. And luckily, there are some businesses that understand that their employees are more productive at home
yeah,
than they were in the building.
right.
I'm way more productive at home
Yeah,
than when I was in the building.
yeah,
You know how much I be on my phone
yeah,
in the building? And I can still be on my phone, but it's almost like it's something about that freedom, you know, that it just, I do more because of the freedom that I have. I'm not bound to your schedule, right?
right.
It's amazing and it's a great feeling and it's almost empowering. It almost pushes you, right? I'm not bound to these hours. And luckily I work for a company that they don't say log in at this time, log out. If you're not on, if we see that your laptop isn't in, like they don't do any of that.
Yeah, there's a lot of trust there.
Because we're adults, right? We should be trusted because we're adults. I trust you to do your work.
Right.
And when I came on, that's what I was told. I trust you to do your work. You are an adult. You know how to handle yourself. But I will say if you are looking for remote work or trying to get into the remote work field, it's tough because everybody wants to work remotely.
Okay. So
right?
yeah.
Everybody wants to do it because it sounds great,
Yep.
So I think it's a lot of competition.
Okay. A lot of competition.
I wouldn't say go on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Simply because LinkedIn, Indeed, a lot of these places, if you're putting in remote work jobs in whatever field, everybody else is doing the same thing.
Okay.
So whatever LinkedIn has available, all these other people are also vying for those jobs.
It's going to be saturated.
It's saturated.
Yeah.
And honestly, sometimes they are scams. Like when you Google work from home jobs or remote work, people have learned how to finagle the Google search so that their links or their websites, they're at the top of the search list, but it doesn't necessarily mean that those are the jobs that you should be applying for. It doesn't even mean they're real. A lot of times they're scams, but we are so used to quick that I think we just do something quick in our search, and that's how we look for remote work. One thing I like to do, I was in the school system for several years. I used a lot of different apps. I go to those places first. So Power School. I worked in Power School all the time for my students. Power School careers.
Oh.
I'm just going to search Power School careers.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
So it's a way that we...
it was a tool for that particular system.
Right. It was a tool that we used, and you would go online. It had all of our student information, grades, GPAs, whatever you needed, you could find it there. We housed a lot of stuff there.
I love that tip.
Right.
Because when and I said this on a podcast a while ago, like people get on, they might take a flight, and you don't think about when they come and bring the snacks and stuff to you, there could be different companies that are giving snacks to the passengers. So why not think about, I wonder if this company needs anybody to work from. I wonder if they want to know what the experience is like of a passenger.
Absolutely.
And so I love that tip to start thinking not just for your experience, but think about how did this business think about, especially if a snack's not good or I liked it, but it felt a little empty, like the tips and tricks you can give to them if you start thinking differently.
No, it's funny because if there's one thing that I like, my homegirl put me on, her father was doing it, surveys. And a lot of them, all of them aren't real, but I have one, I wish I could think of the name of the company. I have one that I love. Yeah. And I did a survey not too long ago, and it was for school counselors. They paid me $250 for like a week of just text. Like they would ask me questions and I'd either give them a video message or I'd have to like type it up. And I'd just use, I'd just use my little mic and I'd talk and it would type for me and I'd send it. Yeah. $250. Yeah. And it's so funny you say that because that's the same type of thing. Maybe. Right. You want to...
Some feedback.
Right. Surveys. Cool. Money. It's easy money too. Yeah. It's not constant. Right. But a little change here and there. Yeah. Absolutely. But yeah, so I think that because when you think about all of the technology that you interact with on a daily basis and I know Power School because I used Power School for many, many years. Yep. Why wouldn't I go straight to their website and see what careers they have? Boom. As someone who worked in the school system, and I know it's hard for us because when you have a specialized degree, you don't know how to get out of this job. Right. I went to school to be a teacher. Right. My degree is education. Yeah. I've taught. There's not you don't really know how to leverage it into something else, but you can. Okay. Power School is an app that school systems use. I can be a trainer. I can be a salesperson because I've done it. Yeah. I understand it. I know it. Hey, I was in the school system for 10 years. I know Power School. Yeah. Let me work remotely for your company. And there are jobs out there where you can just literally sell their product to people, And I think that if you think about all of the technology you interact with, go straight to their career page.
Okay, that's good. That's a huge tip. If you think about all the technology you interact with, go to their career page.
Go straight to their career page. Yeah. Because more than likely they have remote jobs. Not all of them, but many of them. Yeah. Class Dojo is another one that we use. I love helping educators because we don't think we can get out of the school system. Yeah. we don't know what to do.
Yeah.
We don't know how to do it. And I love helping educators because like Class Dojo, most schools use Class Dojo.
Never heard of it, but I know the educators have.
Absolutely. And the parents, because you use it, it's the way you interact with parents.
Okay.
And I used it as a school counselor because they had YouTube videos about growth mindset. And I'm a growth mindset girl when it comes to my kids. And so I'd always put Class Dojo growth mindset into my lessons. But even as a parent, I'm using it to interact with the teachers. Like I can pull it up now and show you, like, you know, the conversations that I'm having with Logan's teachers and things like that, right? So Class Dojo, though, has all remote jobs.
Wow.
I just put one of my coworkers onto a job that's like 140. It starts at like 140 and it goes up to like 190, and it's remote.
Wow.
This person has been doing, you know, this work for a long time. He's worked on the college level. He now works at the company where I work. But I said, listen, this is good. Like, this is good. And, you know, and it's not like I want you to leave this job, but look, this is a good opportunity.
But
you know?
you're valuable.
Yeah,
Recognize that.
You're valuable.
You're valuable. Decide where you want to apply your skill set because it's not just stuck to one group.
It's not. And, you know, I've also learned that, and I think because our generation is different, moving around is how you make more money. I just really think that now when you move, you kind of have to move around to get what you want.
I agree with that.
You know, sometimes you see your value and you go where you need to go to make more money or to be in a different environment that's a better space or fit for you. But I did. And, you know, classes, you wouldn't think like, because he has kids, he's probably interacted with Class Dojo.
Right.
He probably never in his life thought to go on Class Dojo's website and look at their careers.
Right.
I did because that's how I think, right? And so I'm literally like, here, it's right in your face. Like you use this app all the time.
It's right in your face.
With your students. It's right here for you.
Wow, that's
you
good.
know, yeah. And so I really like that's one of the biggest tips I can give you.
Yeah, no, that's...
Go straight to the career page. Get off of LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I can't stand having to search for things on. I used to do it, and I think that's why I wasn't successful for so long because I was stuck on LinkedIn. I do think connecting with people is great.
Yeah.
Sometimes. But I think I was getting so caught up in trying to connect with people like, oh, this job, this is the recruiter. Let me go and contact this recruiter and try and, you know, have some relationship with this person. Just spinning my wheels and putting my time and attention into the wrong areas instead of just going straight to these websites that most people aren't looking.
Right.
You know, because people aren't thinking, just like he would have never thought to go on Class Dojo's website to find that remote job, making way more than what he makes.
Right.
You know, we're just sitting on job boards.
Yeah.
Because we Google remote work and we see the job board pop up. And we go straight to the job board like all of us are doing.
Right.
So now it's millions of us on this job board. We're applying for the same jobs.
Yeah. When
spinning our wheels.
Spinning our wheels when we need to be thinking about what do I already work with? What do I already interact with? And how can my perspective, the fact that I am the customer.
Right.
In many cases, the parent, customer. The teacher, you're the customer. So if I can have the customer come and give me insight on how to make this thing better or why it's useful to others, that's a huge gem.
Because I use it, I can sell it, right?
Exactly.
I can sell this product because I use this every day in my whole life.
Yeah, this is good.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of what we're going to call this. Earn 6 figures while working remotely. It's possible.
And not just that, I just posted a video, and I'm new to videos. I like to be in the background, but I just posted a video yesterday for a job. The pay is $124, and you don't even need a degree, and it's a remote job.
Wow!
You literally GED,
no degree required,
high school diploma,
and it's remote.
Wow. And it's like everything is out there. It's just about finding the jobs. I'm a finder, though. I'm also a woman. My exes will tell you I'm the FBI. I'm I am the FBI, okay? I went into the wrong field and then I went into the right field, right? I definitely went into the wrong field. I'm a Scorpio.
Oh, man.
I'm going to find it.
You
hear me?
out.
I'm going to find everything.
I know that like that you put on that page. I was watching you.
I'm gonna find it. You hear me?
Yeah.
And so that's another thing. Like I am one of those people. I'm going to find whatever I'm looking for. It's out there.
Yeah.
It's just about understanding how to find it, so I don't go about searching like everybody else does.
So I love this. So let's back up just slightly. So we're now doing this. You gave us some great tips on how to do this. But so talk a little bit about the entrepreneurial journey of how this started, where you're now doing this for others. Mm-hmm. You work now as well? You still work?
I do. I still work.
You still work, and now you're also offering this as an additional side hustle type thing where I can help y'all do what I've been able to do. And
it is a side hustle, but it's going to become my main.
Yeah,
eventually.
I believe
already
everything.
Decided it.
Yeah,
it's going to become my main. But it's funny because I love my job. I do, but I get so much freedom that the past few months I've been like, why don't I have a second remote job? Like I have too much time on my hands. Yeah. Why don't I have a second remote job?
To continue
and this
to
has
challenge,
become my second job.
Okay,
right?
Good. Yeah.
This has now taken the place of a second remote job. It's my business.
Well, right? I don't know if you know this about us, or me in particular, I'm all about having a job and having a side hustle. And we've got several. We've got something that gives us that consistency of a paycheck, and then we're going through all the ups and the downs of entrepreneurship, which is it's a good learning I think to do them dually. And when one can become the main, great. But if you can make as much money on your side hustle as you do with your main, why not?
Why not?
Yeah, it's out there. It's available to you.
Why not? It's so funny because I was saying that about having a second remote job. Why don't I have I have been on the phone with my friends and they're like, girl, okay, we know. Like you have a lot of free time in your day to get a second remote job.
Yeah.
But so I literally started doing it because I was looking for a remote job initially. And I was coming across so many remote jobs that I'd be at work with my friends like, hey, this is not a good fit for me, but you need to apply for this.
I got to tell somebody about it.
Yeah, I'm like literally good. I'm coming across, and they were all at that time for educators because I was definitely still just looking for a role in education. And a lot of times we just don't think that there are so many other things out there as an educator, any field really.
Right.
And I'm like always like, hey, you should apply for this. You should apply for this. You should apply for this.
Right.
Still looking for myself, but just give because why not tell you?
Yeah, don't gatekeep.
Right. Why not tell you that this is out here? I'm not hating on you. I want you to make your money, baby. And I want you to be in a better situation, in a better place.
Yeah.
Because where we currently work is not it.
Right. I know that there's more for you.
I know you don't want to be here.
Yeah.
I literally walked into the last school, and after I got really comfortable with a few people, I was like, hey, why are you still here? Because this role is for you. Yeah. Why are you still here? Yeah. You should definitely.
And how much do people need that? How much do they need that little push that there's more in you?
There's so much more in you, and there's so much more for you out there. And I think, like I said, we just get so comfortable. We get caught up in comfort. And one of the ladies who I was trying to get into a remote job, she's close to retirement, right? And she knew she loved the school where we worked. She had been there since it opened, and she was like, I'm going to retire here. Yeah. Like I knew all my life I was going to retire from this role. Unfortunately, because of admin, she did not. She decided to leave on her own, which I totally understood it. Yeah. But I was trying to get her out of the school system all the way, right? I just think it's time for you to leave this. Yeah. And I'm going to circle back with her because she's about to be done. I'm going to circle back and just tell her, even after you retire, you can work remotely and make way more than you were working in the school system. Absolutely. Because these roles that I'm finding are 6-figure jobs. Right.
And teachers are put so much pressure on them and then not compensated.
Barely making it. Yeah. There's no way that a teacher should work the way she or he does all day and then have to go work a second job.
Yeah. Sad.
It's awful. Yeah. And so, So I started just finding remote work for people I worked with, still looking for myself. And I legit one day said online, just helping friends. I just helped a friend find a remote job. And my inbox just starts
going crazy.
Ding, 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 ding. What is happening?
Yeah.
Can you help me? Can you help me? People I've never talked to before in my life. Hey. I can help you for a fee.
Yeah, absolutely.
I absolutely can for a fee.
Yeah.
Because even though it's easy to me, it's easy for me, it's still my time, and that's what I've had to learn because I was giving it away for free. Even after I started the business, people who I knew would come to me and I'd be like, girl, I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Now I'm charging.
Yeah. As you should.
Right, because it's my time.
It's not just because it's your time. You all the time, this is what I say. The price is rarely the cost.
Absolutely.
Right? So your price that they're paying don't even come close to the cost of your experiences, your skill, everything you've had to go through to get this skill set.
To learn this,
and even the tip you just gave.
Right. To learn
that's
how to
worth
do this.
what it's worth.
Right.
And so plus your actual time in the present on top of that.
Right.
So yeah.
You're right. And it's funny because I just thought about this when you said that. A lot of the jobs I'm finding are 6-figure jobs. So my little money that I'm going to make for you to get 6-figure jobs sent to you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And honestly, some of my friends...
Life-changing.
Right.
It's not like they're going to make it one time. They're going to keep making it.
You're going to keep making it as long as you can keep the job.
Right.
As
long as you good enough.
Part.
Yeah, that's your part.
That's you have to take responsibility and do that. But as long as you can keep it, absolutely.
Yeah.
And there are different levels to what I do. I can just send you remote jobs every month. That's fine. Or we can have one-on-one sessions. I literally will take your resume. I will analyze it. I will pick it apart and tell you, okay, these jobs are going to be a better fit for you currently because of the experiences that you have, the tools that you have, the knowledge that you have. Let's start here. And because a lot of people have other goals, right? I'm here, but I want to be here. Okay, so you're a teacher and you want to have a career in customer success. But a lot of your experience is in more customer service.
Okay.
So currently I'm going to find you roles that are remote in customer service. I'm going to find you roles. I'm going to give you like 3 or 4 different categories and I'm going to find roles for you there.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you, if you're trying to get this kind of job, you're going to need CRM. So maybe go and learn HubSpot. You can HubSpot Academy. Let's help you get the skills that you need so that we can circle back
to be more hireable for this role. You're helping people also translate this is how these educational academic type skill sets apply to this business type role. This is the lingo. This is the naming difference. Customer success versus student success or, that type of thing.
But I help all.
Okay.
But I do love helping educators because I was one and I understand how tough it can be.
Yeah.
But no matter what role, no matter what field you're in, all it takes is us looking at your resume and figuring out what's your transferable skills and what else do you need. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we can start you here because you can get a remote job. I can help you find a remote job. I can even help you through the interview process, the follow-up afterwards. I was helping a girl one day and I was just kind of going through what we were going to do after the interview. And she had already had one interview. She was going back for another. And I was kind of just telling her the process and her mouth is literally hanging open. And she had been referred to me from a friend. And I remember texting my friend, girl, her mouth was just wide open when I was telling her what we're going to do to prepare her for this interview. Because you can be extremely prepared where you go in and you're very nice and comfortable.
Yeah.
You don't have to be stressed or worried because you have prepped. You are ready for whatever they throw at you.
Yeah.
And so even taking you through all the way through the end, the interviews have happened. This is how you're going to follow up. at your interview, I need you to take notes. You're going to ask these questions. Take notes on their answers. Then we're going to sit and kind of think of, okay, these are the problems that they need to be solved. How can you solve them? What are some things that you can do just off the top of your head? Okay, we're going to turn it into an email and send it. We don't have to get deep into details, but you've thought about it. They know that you're thinking, right? You're actually putting a lot of thought into this even before you get the job.
Absolutely.
I think it's always great. I will actually come with something. Like, I'll print something out. I will make something and send it. Like, this is what I've already thought of. This is what I have so far. They're like, dang.
Yeah, that's impressive. She's ready to hit the ground running.
She's ready to hit the ground running. Yeah. They love that type of stuff,
Absolutely.
Right? And so helping, like, literally going from I can either send you remote jobs every month to I can help you from the beginning to the very end of the process, because some people need that. I think some of us are good with, just send me the jobs.
Yeah.
And I can do the rest.
Figure it out, yeah. So that's probably a lower tier. But then if they need more one-on-one assistance, we can do that pay for that, and it's available to you.
Right, it's available as well.
So let me ask you some of these before we get out of here. So how would you say remote work will impact work-life balance?
Oh, man.
And how has it impacted yours?
It for me, and I think for many of us, when you think about how stressed you are when you are trying to get out of the house on time, you see these memes where people are like, they're running like me leaving my house at 8:15, hoping I get to work at 8:00.
Right.
Like, these are things that we deal with. You get to work, you're stressed. You're already stressed before you get there. Yeah. Because just the transition, just the drive was a lot, you know?
Zapped you.
It zaps you. You've eliminated the drive. I think it allows you to be calmer. It allows you to be more relaxed. That work-life balance was so important. I enjoy going to the gym. I enjoy having time with my kid. When I was at that last school, there was no time for him. He literally cried one day like, Mommy, I spend more time with my teachers and the people at school than I get to spend with you. And I didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
At least I thought I didn't have a choice, right? Like, I'm here. I have to do this. Yeah. That was another reason why I was like, baby, after this, I'm done. Right. I have to find another way out, because I'm not going to live my life with my kid feeling like this. He needs me. Right. Like, we are here, okay? Yeah. Like, that's my main man. Yeah. Like, so I just, and so I think it gave me the opportunity. I get to go on the field trips now. Like, I'm able to be the chaperone, unfortunately, because now I have to be the chaperone. Right. But I do get the opportunity. I get to have more time with my kid. I get to put my health and my wellness, in front of my job. It has allowed me to, and I feel like it affords a lot of people just more time and more time freedom that you don't get when you are working in an in-office job, right?
So the fear with a lot of business owners is like, are people going to get their work done? Right. Are people going to do it? This is my question though. Do you feel like remote work almost has to be six-figure? It almost has to be high level? Because, and the reason I say that is because if I'm paying somebody $150,000, $200,000 a year, the expectation is clear. Absolutely. You may never see me again, but I expect you to do what if you got to figure it all out on your own with no training, if you got to go through the academy on your own, right? And so I think that comes with six figures. But if you're starting out at maybe 40 or 50 or 30, is it, where folks might need more training and need more, is that where a business owner might not, remote work might not work for them? Or?
Oh, it still works. Okay. I think that some people, when you think of, because not everyone wants to make six figures, right? Okay. They're cool with, because maybe it's a retired person who's just trying to do something. I'm retired. I don't really need a lot. Or it's a student, or someone who's young. They live with their parents. They don't need a lot, but I need something, and I don't want to go into a building. Right. They can do very well, not making six figures. Yeah. I think a lot of times it depends on your discipline, right? It's just, you just have to be disciplined. Like, I had to learn, because I even get caught up sometimes. I love my job. but I also love my business.
Right.
And so I had to learn how to separate the two because I've jumped up in the morning, I get hyper focused. I've jumped up in the morning working on my business. Now it's 9 o'clock and I'm like, oh shoot, let me stop.
Yeah.
Let me start my work for my job. Because like I said, they're not down my neck.
Right.
They're not down my, hey, have you started working yet? Like they just expect that you're going to do what needs to be done. By the time this deadline gets here, you've done the work that needs to be done. And I don't make 6 figures in my role, you know, but they're just they are very trusting that adults are going to be adults.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that if you work for a company that understands that adults are going to be adults and do their work, you don't have to worry about that, right? But I do think if you are making 6 figures, I do think that's one reason why I have not gone into a 6-figure role, because I like having more freedom in my day.
Right.
I think that once you start taking on those titles, your day becomes more busy, right? I don't.
Remote or not.
You're in more meetings.
Yeah.
Like my supervisor, her meetings are nonstop. You know, she has a lot of meetings because of her title, because of the amount of money she makes.
Right.
She's on go.
Yeah.
You know, I can fit other things. I can go to my kids' field trips. Nobody's missed me.
Right. And your work is still done.
And my work is still
fine.
done. Yeah. I'm able to work my other business. I'm able to take meetings for my own business, you know, because of, you know, just because of how my schedule looks in my title and my role, you know. But I do think as far as, man, work-life balance, man, I'm going to tell you, it's been beautiful to not have to sit in an office and be micromanaged.
Yeah. It's been beautiful.
It's so freeing. It's such a freeing feeling.
Free like a bird.
And I think that when you are in a good situation, you work harder for people when you're in a good situation. I'm not mad at you.
Right.
I'm not like, here you come. Let me pretend like I'm doing some work. You know, I feel free.
Shuffling papers.
Right. let me get up and start doing something. You know, and I think that helps though.
Yeah.
You know, I do more work for my company because I like where I work.
Yeah.
I like the people. They're not micromanaging me. They're not telling me clock in at this time. Yeah. It's perfect.
How confident are you in the success rate you can have with somebody? If I came to you today and said, Holli, I need to find something remote and I need to make X amount, how confident are you that you can find me what I...
Oh my gosh. I told you I'm a finder, baby. I am the FBI of remote work.
Yeah.
So I don't have a doubt. It's funny. I'll have people who are overseas. I've had people like, can you help me? I live in Canada. I live in Brazil. Absolutely I can. Yeah. I come across those every day.
Wow.
I come across so many things every day that my 2 tiers for my people who just get remote jobs sent to them. I give them my basic tier gets 10, my platinum tier gets 20, and they just get some other things along with that. They have gotten more than 10 and 20 remote jobs because I'm like, I have to send this to somebody.
Yeah.
Right? Like I have given you, like basically what you paid for, you have gotten at the beginning of the month.
Yeah.
However, I have now come across 10 more jobs and somebody is going to know. Yeah. Somebody is going to know about these jobs. So now I'm sending them to you because I'm just coming across so many jobs every day. And I think for me, it doesn't take a lot, right? Because I have literally, I guess you would say I've figured out the cheat code to finding the jobs. Yeah. You know, so whatever you throw at me, wherever you live, you don't have to be in the United States. I can absolutely find you a job. Yeah. You know, it just depends on what you're looking for. I can definitely find it though.
Yeah, that's awesome. Have you ever thought about partnering with like companies, HR groups, and is that on the path?
I've thought about it.
Yeah.
I've thought about it. You know what I would really love to do is partner with, because one thing I've noticed and one thing I know is that a lot of times when I tell my friends and people, my clients, your resume has to get through ATS, right? We don't necessarily know what they're looking for.
What do you mean by ATS?
ATS is basically the system with a lot of times when you submit your application, it doesn't get seen by a person initially. It goes through a screening process.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't say what they want it to say, you're automatically screened out. That's why you get that. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
You unfortunately,
it
never even got to a human being.
Yeah.
And so I would love to partner with a company because there are some that have like apps. And you can submit your resume and they can read it for, whatever ATS might possibly be looking for, because a lot of times we don't necessarily know from company to company.
Right.
But I would love to partner with one of those places to say, hey, this is what I do. I now have this company we can get your resume together because I do the best that I can,
right.
And making sure that your resume is ATS optimized, but we can now take it through this screener and they can give us even more information about, whether you have a good chance of getting through ATS and being seen by a recruiter or an interviewer or not.
Yeah.
I would love to do something like that.
No, that's cool. That's cool. But right now, that there's a lot of impact you can make on an individual basis with people, and that's kind of where the focus is.
Yes, I love it. It's once you figure out how to do it, you can just do it for anybody. I have kind of cut down on my services because I was trying to service a lot of people and it was becoming very overwhelming, which is why I brought my services down to, I have a one-on-one where I can teach you everything. We can go through it all.
Yeah.
Or I can just send you the remote jobs, and we can kind of go from there. But there are so many ways, and I do want to get back to offering more services once I can handle it all. I think that the demand, I didn't know initially how the demand was going to just hit me like it did. Just go on the wait list, get on the wait list. I have over 200 people on a wait list. And I'm like, well, I shouldn't have done the wait list. I thought
that was going to be 20.
I was like, oh my gosh. Every day I'd be like, how am I now going to service all of these people? So I was trying to service 10 people at a time. I took that down. I can't do 10 at a time.
I like this. You getting me excited. Mackenzie knows this, but I like starting businesses every 5 seconds. So
it's amazing. I've done it all.
Might be trying to invest in Holli here in a second.
I've done it all. I started meal prepping because I'm great at meal prepping. I am a meal prepper. At the time I was dating a guy who was a personal trainer and he had started a group. And I meal prepped for myself and people were like, well, can you meal prep for me? And I just started, it just turned into its own. I love when you're just doing something because it's what you do and it evolves into its own thing. And it's like, well, you know what? Okay.
Let's do a business. Meal prepping.
Let's
Holli
just
meal
do
preps.
It. Right. I was meal prepping. And then the economy took a turn and I was like, oh.
Yeah, we cool.
Yeah, we're gonna
grocery prices went crazy,
and I was having to charge so much. And it's funny because even now I might post a meal and people are like, "Are you still meal prepping?" No, for myself, yes, but no, not for other people.
Not accepting clients at this time.
I am not accepting.
So tell
clients.
the people, Holli, how should they get in contact with you? And we'll put this in the show notes and stuff. But talk to that camera and tell people how they should get in contact with you.
So I just started my social media for my business. It is Sills Empowerment Solutions, and that's at Sills Empowerment Solutions, S as in Sam, ILLS, Empowerment Solutions. And that's on Instagram. I have my website by the same name, sillsempowermentsolutions.com. You can also, my personal Instagram is at Just Holli, JUSTHOLLI. My Patreon, please join it if you would like. I give tips there, and that's where you can get on the membership, where I actually send out remote jobs, and that is also Sills Empowerment Solutions.
Dope. So y'all got it. We'll put that in the show notes so y'all have all that information. So y'all can stay in contact with Holli if you need a remote job, if you want a remote job. It's possible for you, is what we've learned today. Holli, what would you give them? Last final thought And not just about the specific remote jobs, but what would you give them motivationally to let them know they can do it?
You know what? Stepping out of your comfort zone might seem scary at first, but it's probably the best thing for you to do. I know we get so stuck on being comfortable. We get so stuck on what's good instead of allowing God to take us to what's great, what's really for us. So just step out on faith, talk to him, have a conversation with him. Lord, lead me.
Yeah.
And then just go from there, because I guarantee you what you think is your end point is probably not. Baby, if it looks like this is the end, it's not. Every day we have another breath in our bodies. It's not the end. So allow yourself to really step out there and do whatever it is. Take that risk. I think that when we're on our deathbeds and it's time to go, I would rather have had all the risk than to be dying and say, what if? So just go for it. Whatever it is, just go for it. Don't allow yourself to stay stuck. Take the chance and go for whatever it is that you think you want. Just do it.
That's it. Amen, amen. Just go for it. Until next time, y'all. Thanks, Holly.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure meeting you, getting to know you. And
as well.
if I ever need a remote job, I know.
Absolutely.
I
You know
who to call.
Listen, you know who.
Until next time, y'all. Stay motivated. It's your boy, StephenMotivate. Peace.